Welcome back, everybody, and thank you so much for your patience with that one. Comcast.
Comcast is the enemy.
You get back to the cell, and you, what do you do when you guys get there? When you walk in, and this guy's kind of like unconscious on the ground, clearly suffering from frostbite. What?
We discussed while we were crashed. We all get in the same cell. Reich is keeping Kieran away from the unconscious guy, and Stalball prepares the spell in case.
Weapon out, just like brandishing it there.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
My halberd just kind of, it's like, this is how I hold it.
Failed deception roll.
It's not a very good one. She doesn't have a high wisdom, so she might believe me.
William, are you awake? There you go. Oh my god,
Yes,
internet's
I'm here.
still choppy.
Return.
It's still choppy as hell. I think it's just going to be an issue tonight, which is so frustrating, but the stream must go on. At least it's not going to affect the VOD, so I apologize for the... Oh my god, we're losing 9% of frames right now.
Well, I mean, the stream is going up for like 2 minutes.
Those aren't
I
the
know.
important things, though.
But anyway, so moving on. We will... The VODs will be good when they go on YouTube. They'll be clean, because it's being recorded locally as well, not being pulled off Twitch. So, moving on. As they walk away, he then turns his attention back to you, and he's like, "Looks like you, Duncan. Looks like you and I are in a similar situation as when we first met. I don't trust you."
Oh my fucking god.
I'm gonna kill this person.
So, like, my shield's on the ground, my sword's on the ground, Roland's on the horse, and I'm just like, they went back to their cells. I don't know how I can gain your trust. I don't care how I can gain your trust. I'll stay out here. You can take him. I don't care what you want to do it. He just needs help.
I believe it was you had a longbow, a couple of hand axes, and maybe a dagger as well. Drop all those.
I drop all my weapons.
And take that breastplate off, and we'll put you back in the cell with your friends.
I take the breastplate off. I literally, I'm like, I just want him to get help.
Okay.
I just keep saying it.
You don't want to do that. There's nothing going on back here. So, put him up in the room. He'll be more comfortable there.
So when the gates open up,
I'm in the courtyard.
8 guards come out and have their glaives out, not their spears out, brandished towards you to make sure they lead you into the place and keep you nice and safe. So they're bringing you in there into the place, guiding the horse in there, bringing him to the medical place, and he's like, "All right, everybody knows that when he is down, when we don't have another command, I am the one that is in command. So, let's lock up these gates. Let's seal it up. If we see anybody coming towards this gate, we know." Attack first, questions later. This is kind of like what Luca hears in the background as he's being led through. So you are being led through the hallways and whatnot, and along with this person. And when finally they go up to an area where you and the guards are supposed to go opposite ways, you know which way it is. One of the guards is like, "All right, Luca, come with us this way," leading you towards like where the cells are. And somebody else is like, "No, he should come with us over here." You heard the orders. He should be going into the cell. Yeah, as long as there's nobody else in command, he's supposed to be in charge. Well, as long as he's breathing, I ain't listening to that asshole. Luca has to come with us and tell us what
Make a
happens.
mutiny.
Luca has to come with us and tell us what happens so we can go question him. Yeah, orders are orders. We really need to make sure that he goes to the cell. Listen, how about this? Why don't you go and make sure that the other 3 are locked in the cell, because we can't trust them. But the guy's got a dragon mark. Well, I mean, it's kind of like that's his argument.
Yep.
And it's kind of a stalemate between the two of them. Luca, do you choose to chime in?
I'm gonna say, while you might have a new person in charge, he didn't seem so quick to want to get medical aid to the actual person in charge. So I'm just gonna say that.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Sure thing.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Listen, check on the other ones, make sure they're good, and then watch over them if you need to. You two go check them out. The other 6 of us will make sure Lucas doesn't do anything mischievous. And they're like, all right, yeah, that's fine. And so 2 of them go off and start heading towards the cells, and the other 6 escort Luca. However, of these 6 escorting Luca, 2 of them are taking care of the horse and the guy. One of them was the person that was having the conversation in the first place, so he obviously doesn't have his spear out. And the other one is I just need to put something over where I have the internet bouncing, because it's literally distracting me, because all I can do is see it changing colors. So I'm just gonna cover that up so I don't see it anymore. So of the other 4 that are there, only 2 of them have spears still brandished towards you. The rest of them are going to just completely walk alongside you. Eventually, you get to the medical area, and they all quickly, 4 of them quickly get him off of the horse, open him up, and when they see the wounds that are there, thank God you used that potion to stop some of that internal bleeding. Luca, it's gross. Like, this is bad. He was getting mauled by a large size, which means about the size of a horse, wolf with like intelligence and really sharp fangs and whatnot. This is not these things do 2d6 plus 3 damage as like their basic damage with their teeth. You know, like, these are scary creatures, right? So it's like Luca with a greatsword. So that like ripping and tearing at this guy. So they open up his armor and they start immediately trying to clean out his wounds and make sure he's good, so on and so forth. And they start moving a whole bunch of his supplies to another table. Luca, you really can't assist with any form of aid in this. There's nothing that you can do. So it's just more or less you in the room with realistically 3 others, because once they move him over there, the other 3 can't really do much. They're just going to take up space in the room. So they actually just kind of like wait out in the hallway. And then you inside there, and it's kind of like there's the stuff all over the place. What do you choose to do?
So I'm in the room with Roland?
With Roland, correct, as they're working on him.
I'm going to poke my head out into the hallway and say, perhaps it's a better idea I tell people who aren't busy what has been happening.
Responding to what you say, somebody that's currently working on Roland's like, I'll ask you questions in a bit.
Okay. I'll just kind of like slouch down in the corner, back against the wall, and just kind of like take in everything that's been happening and like why, like just questioning everything. Why is this guy so aggressive? Why is this? Why is that? But just keeping it all internal.
Before we move away from you, roll me a perception check.
Yeah, sure. Perception. You know, I'm super perceptive. You know? Yeah.
Gorgeous. One of the things that you notice as they were like taking his stuff off and moving it all over and getting like, his traveling supplies out of the way, something had fallen out of, I don't know, a pocket, his armor, the bag, whatever. A piece of parchment, now covered in a bit of blood, is on the ground. You know that kind of parchment. It's the parchment that comes when a pigeon is sent. It's actually a piece of parchment that was on his desk when he called you into his office to give you orders that you were allowed to search the facility. All right, you guys are inside the cell when all of a sudden everybody make me perception checks.
Before they came down, I would have said to them as we were sitting there waiting, I'm like, they're gonna come down and they're gonna try to take our weapons again. I'm going to give up my weapons willingly, but you guys should hide your magic supplies. I have a feeling we're probably gonna have to use violence to get out of here.
It doesn't really work like that.
Is it a book?
Star Wars sits
How
on
do
his
you
book.
hide a book unless you have a bookcase? I don't see a bookcase in our Kushti room here, right?
Wait, I'm sorry. What was the question? How do we hide the stuff?
We hide our stuff. They take his stuff. It's his idea.
We put our stuff on the body that we're casting invisibility on, and it also turns invisible. Ah.
Yes.
Unlike Odette, I actually did study conventional magics, motherfucker.
Hell yeah. Okay, then that's reasonable. I would be like, what would then the case would be? I'd be casting the spell off his body. The book would be like open on his chest. Which of course Stalboy sees nothing wrong with. And I'm just like, right, tell me when you hear footsteps.
So in that case, you guys are all gonna roll me perception checks.
This looks very suspicious.
Oh, this is legit, dude. This is how people interact.
Very average roll.
Come on, Reich. You got
Quickly.
this.
Yeah,
Right,
super.
You guys couldn't be more average.
Look, average is fine. Average gets a 9-to-5 job. It's great.
Yeah, that's true. And you oh, sorry, I was just thinking of a stand-up comedian I just watched, and she's like, "Oh, no, you're not normal. You're just ordinary." With a punchline to a joke. So, anyways, sorry. So you guys only hear them coming as the doors are opening, and because you don't get that like heads up, roll me initiative, everybody. This is not combat; it's to be able to act. Just to control the actions as they're coming in the door, because Stalbar has to try to get something off. Hold on. Oh, no, you're good. You just roll initiative. You're not involved, Luca.
Oh, a nice Stalbar.
That's probably very important.
Yeah.
That's probably very important.
Okay, good.
By the way, just so you guys know, with those action points, they're usable. If you don't use them by the time you level, you lose them. And they're usable anytime you roll a d20 roll, for any reason. Aaron, just waiting on you.
Me? For my initiative?
Oh, you
I
rolled.
it.
Oh, it just
I
didn't
rolled
pop up.
Yeah.
That's
11.
weird. That's right, I got you.
It's because your internet
Okay.
just drove into a ditch and died for a moment.
That's not why.
And then drove out again and got back on the road.
That's
'cause I'm
not
a
why.
necromancer.
That's not
I
why.
also didn't click on the token because it's not here and it's so dead.
Oh.
Oh, that's mean.
Why don't you just put us back in the old page we have?
Uh-huh.
I could do that.
Way nicer.
I can do that. So, let's see. That's Iraq, Stalbor, and Kieran. Eric, you actually get to go first.
All right. Well, I don't really know what we're doing right now, so.
The
What-
door's
what-
opening. The door's opening up. What do you do?
Well, I'm going to make myself look as non-threatening as possible. I'm going to sit down, my pole arm in my hand because there's nowhere else for it to be, or I'll lean it up against the wall. I'll literally like put it on the bench and just lean it against the wall, and I'm just sitting and looking as non-threatening as possible. Have they already hidden their stuff?
It's on the man's body and it's about to turn invisible in one initiative tick.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna stand up and I'm gonna like lean against the cage in a way that it would make it so as soon as they turn in, it would obscure the view
Thank you.
of them.
Stalbor, you hear the door click open, and as soon as you hear it click open, I actually think you got the highest perception anyways. You were the first one to hear it. So you immediately start casting before anybody even really starts acting. You cast your spell and you get it off. However, Kieran, you don't get to act before they get to listen and try to hear things and see things.
Mm-hmm.
Before I get my perception check. Okay, so they come walking in, and he gets the spell off, and he walks around the corner, and he looks down at Stalbor, just kind of like strangely squatting over this nothing that's there. And Kieran kind of like her hand at the ready to just murder somebody. And Reich just kind of like leaning against the cage, just like, stop. And he walks in, and he's like, you're all here.
Was that unexpected?
Well, thank you. Another one comes in and he's like, oh, and you shut the cell?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's locked, but I did lock it. But I don't know if it's locked. We just shut it.
He looks around and he
I have no idea how
Rattles
your
the gate.
strange metallic locks
rattles
work.
the gate.
By the way, we totally kept the keys, right? That we got from this
Yes,
guard.
I have the keys on
Okay.
me.
We kept the keys and we're all in the same cell.
I imagine you threw in one of your packs or on that guy that's on the ground. So they rattle the gates like, oh, thank you for, okay. And he kind of like turns and he goes to leave, and the other one's like, do I stay watch? And he's like, yeah, let's not piss him off, because if he is in charge, we don't want to make things worse. You might as well stay here and watch them. They should be leaving in the morning anyways. That was at least the original plan. He's like, all right, I'll stay and keep an eye on things. And he looks back at you guys, is like, this is unexpected, but I will, just let things play out. I'm sure everything's
Hey.
fine. It was Luca out there.
This will be This will be the easiest guard job you've ever had.
Come a little closer.
I look at I look at like Frank, like I give him like a look, like we have 1 hour, and I'm knocking this guy unconscious.
I'm gonna start like as soon as the other guy leaves, I'm gonna start talking to him. I want to kind of be like, hey, since we're stuck here overnight, do you mind if we chit chat? And then I want pretty much. I want to talk to him. I want to talk to him a little bit about Duncan. Specifically, I want to try to.
So mutiny.
Yeah. So dissent, so to speak. Not so blatantly as to be like, yo, you should go up and kill him. He's a little bitch. You can take him. But more like, I don't understand if he's the second in command. If he's the second in command here, how does a man who lacks such discipline as the man that we so witnessed out there, the second in command around here? I'm not suggesting that your commander did not know what he was doing. I just fear as though, as it is with most military structures, the longevity of someone's service has proven more important than the quality of their service. Is there no one else who would be more fit to take the reins?
Roll me your persuasion check, by the way.
Cool.
And don't Eric it.
No, Aaron.
No, it's definitely don't Kieran it now.
Well, Eric being don't.
Kieran does
Oh,
things
I
well
did Eric it.
at
I
the
Eric'd
wrong
all over
time.
that shit.
So
Claim
he
Eric,
goes.
only just started.
Well,
Eric'd all over that shit.
technically he's the third.
Oh, we lost him.
Technically, he's the third in charge. The second in command happens to just be away on commands. So he's technically the third in commands, and third in command generally holds the position of watching the wall. So
Stalbor in Elvish says, "Well, that's convenient."
How long ago did the second in command leave?
a few days, and they should be back shortly.
Well, then perhaps that'll be fortuitous for us. Well, I'm trying to think of how I can get rid of this guy.
By the way, because to the point that you rolled success and what your intentions were, he seemed to agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know this, obviously, but I mean, to him, it's one of those, a combination of what Reich is saying and then kind of like what was said before by those people in the hallway. He's like, and you kind of like, you could see like gears are turning in his head. But again, it was because of, for those of us with the outside perspective, from both things that he just witnessed.
Well, something that Reich would think about on the spot, and something he would mention is to say, I know that we are outsiders, and there is little to suggest that you don't know as much about us as you do about the men that you have served bravely at the wall here. It stands to reason, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that Luca, as a Dragon-marked member of House Deneath, would stand ahead above Duncan, at least in regards to the leadership of the wall, especially since Luca has proven himself.
Luca's rank is very low. He's just newly entered into his position. And so more or less the conversation kind of goes this way, where he already disagrees with the idea of Duncan being in charge, but it's not his place to say one way or the other. And he's only here because he's trying not to piss off the new command. So it's not that this guy's happy with who's in command, but it's just he understands that it's not his place to change that, because there is a chain of command. All right, so any other intentions of trying to get rid of him? Because how long does that spell last for Stalbor? An hour?
An hour.
1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
I mean, I know Karen has ideas.
Anyone other than Karen have any ideas?
I have an idea for when it's found out. I have no ideas for not having it be found out.
Hold on 1 second.
And I know, honestly, it'd be the same. Stalbor would just be waiting.
While you guys are...
inevitable.
Thank you, Ollie. Sorry, my apologies
Yeah,
for
like
being...
I'm just waiting until time runs out, and then this guy's gonna have to go unconscious.
While you guys are looking and thinking of ideas, we're gonna cut the camera back to Luca. Luca, you see that parchment across the way and on the floor.
Everyone seems pretty busy, yeah?
Yeah.
Taking care of this guy.
Mhm.
I'm gonna try to just pick it up. I want to do it stealthily.
Sleight of
so
hand.
that I'm not noticed. A little sleight of hand.
DC's not terribly high because they're distracted, but you of course rolled a natural 1. So you reach over and grab the paper and you pick it up. At least 2 people in the room see you. No question.
Yep.
You notice them see you. However, nobody necessarily says anything. What do you do when you pick up the paper?
I want to read it.
So you just kind of like, you pick it up. 2 people obviously notice you, and you just kind of like, and you just like what? Sit back down or continue standing where you
It
want
would
to
be
read it.
way more like suspicious to like pocket it.
Yeah. I'm
Just,
not,
like,
I'm
read
not putting it in my
there.
pocket like, looking them in the eye. I was sitting there and I notice it like from a little bit across the room. And I do like a big lean over and I reach and grab. Obviously, it was very. I was trying to be like sneaky about it, but obviously I wasn't. So I reach over and I grab it. I pick it up and I notice that they saw me. So I just read it. And I wait to see if they have a reaction, and I also want to see what's on the paper.
So as you go to read it, they kind of, one of them's like, they kind of go about their business. But actually, as you go to actually start reading it, one was like, "Hey, that's his."
Yes, and it's covered in blood.
But that's still the commander's private.
Yeah. I hold it up. I'm just like, yeah.
Okay. You can put it down on that table over there, and then go
Okay.
back to what they're doing.
I walk
read it.
over to put it down
Yep.
to the table, and as I walk over there, I attempt to read it.
Okay, cool. You try to like speed read it to do so. So if you're gonna want to try to be discreet again, you can roll me another sleight of hand with disadvantage this time. But you don't care if they notice you either way because they're, I already noticed you.
Believe in you, Luca.
I know. There you go. That's sexy.
Not a natural one.
That's sexy. So they definitely notice that you, as you're walking over there, holding it open and reading it as you go. Roll me an intelligence because you're trying to be quick about it. Just plain flat intelligence.
It's a flat in.
Yep.
Yes, I'm killing it, guys. I'm
Yeah.
Oh,
killing
man.
it.
All your good
All
rolls.
those good rolls were
Fucking
earlier.
10 out of 10, dude.
So you walk over. You're very obviously trying to read the thing as you make your way over to the paper table. As you get over there, you just really quickly try to read it. It's kind of like, it's more or less like the opening, a typical opening to Roland, blah, 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 House Beneath. Here are the new orders that are to be given to you for, and then like you don't really get much beyond that. You just kind of see that these are new orders being given to him, but you don't see what they are, why they are. It's actually a decently length letter, but you can't really see what it is beyond the fact that it's clearly orders. You just get through kind of like the typical opening mumbo jumbo first, and then that's it. You couldn't skim past that. You're at the table where you're supposed to put it down. Do you put it down and walk away like you're supposed to, or do you just say fuck it and keep reading?
Put it down and walk away.
Okay.